You can always feel it before you hear it, the silence between words. The look that used to mean love now means distance. And then one day, she says something, small, casual, but it cuts deeper than you expected. Most men miss that moment. They hear her words, but not the truth behind them. Because when a woman speaks, she's rarely just saying what she means. She's revealing how she sees you. This video isn't about blame. It's about awareness. It's about seeing the hidden meanings inside the words that seem harmless, the ones that quietly decide whether a man keeps his dignity or loses himself trying to save a connection that's already gone cold. There are 5 phrases a woman can say that should stop you in your tracks. 5 moments when what sounds emotional or gentle is actually a warning, a signal that respect has begun to fade. If you ignore them, you don't just risk heartbreak. You risk becoming a man who lives his life through someone else's approval. These words don't come from anger. They come from something far more dangerous, disconnection. When she says, "I don't need you," it's not strength, it's separation. When she whispers, "You deserve better," it's not kindness, it's closure. When she claims, "I need to find myself," she's not searching for truth. She's searching for a way out that doesn't look like betrayal. Men who don't understand this language end up chasing ghosts. They argue, they plead, they wait, believing patience will heal what pride has already ended. But what they don't realize is this: once respect is gone, love can't breathe, and no amount of loyalty can bring back a woman who's already left in spirit. What you're about to hear isn't bitterness. It's clarity. It's a reminder that your worth doesn't depend on who stays, it depends on what you tolerate. Because the truth is simple. The man who knows when to walk away doesn't lose women. He loses confusion. So if you've ever been the one left questioning, replaying words that made no sense, this is for you. By the end of this video, you'll recognize every subtle warning, not to judge her, but to protect your peace. Because sometimes the most powerful thing a man can say is nothing at all. When a woman looks at you and says, "I don't need you," it might sound like confidence, but listen closely and you'll hear something else. That phrase isn't independent speaking. It's distance dressed as pride. It's the sound of a wall being built where connection once stood. True independence isn't about pushing people away. It's about standing tall while still allowing space for closeness. There's a kind of strength that doesn't threaten love, and another that quietly destroys it. The first says, "I can stand on my own, but I choose to stand with you." The second says, "I stand above you, and you should know your place." That's not power, that's disconnection. Every genuine relationship is built on interdependence. 2 people choosing, not needing each other. The moment someone starts using their independence as a weapon, the foundation begins to crack. It's not a celebration of freedom. It's a declaration that your presence no longer matters. Men often misunderstand this. They think walking away from such words means weakness, that maybe she's just hurt or testing them. But let's be honest. When someone tells you they don't need you, they're telling you they no longer see your value. They may still want your company, your energy, your comfort, but they no longer respect what you bring. That's how it begins. Small words that sound harmless, but slowly erode the ground beneath your dignity. You start explaining yourself, trying to prove that you add value. You give more, hoping she'll remember who you are. Yet every effort only deepens the imbalance, because love cannot breathe where respect is gasping for air. What she truly means beneath that proud tone is this: I can replace you. And once that seed is planted, everything you say or do will grow from a place of fear. Fear of being forgotten, fear of being unneeded. That's not love anymore. That's survival. There's nothing noble about staying where your value is dismissed. The moment you accept her words, you accept emotional exile. You begin to live in her world as a guest, tolerated, not chosen. You start shrinking to fit her distance, apologizing for existing too loudly. And in that quiet self-erasure, you lose the very essence that once drew her in. Leaving, then, is not about ego. It's about self-respect. You don't walk away to teach her a lesson. You walk away because you've already learned yours. You've learned that love cannot thrive in a space where one person calls the other unnecessary. You've learned that silence can speak louder than any explanation. So if she ever says, "I don't need you," hear it for what it is, a warning, a quiet signal that the bond has turned from mutual to conditional. You don't argue, you don't plead, and you don't wait for her to realize your worth. You stand up, you gather your peace, and you leave. Not because you're heartless, but because you finally understand. The strongest form of love is never proven through need. It's proven through respect and the courage to walk away when it's gone. And when the words, "I don't need you," finally fade, another phrase often follows, softer, more deceptive, and far more dangerous. She looks at you with gentle eyes, a hint of regret in her voice, and says, "You deserve better." At first it sounds noble, it sounds like kindness, but don't be fooled by the softness of her tone. Those words are not love, they are camouflage. What hides beneath them is not care, but closure. She is not setting you free out of compassion, she's setting herself free from guilt. Real love doesn't excuse itself. It doesn't retreat behind poetic goodbyes or noble phrases. When someone truly values you, they don't tell you to find better, they become better. They look at their flaws, their mistakes, their distance, and they fight to rise to the level of what you deserve. But when she says, "You deserve better," she isn't preparing to rise, she's preparing to leave. She's writing her exit letter in the language of empathy. Men often mistake this for grace. They hear the words and think, "She's protecting me. She cares too much to hurt me." But the truth is she's already gone. Emotionally, mentally, maybe even physically, she has stepped outside the circle of the relationship. What you're hearing is not affection. It's the echo of someone easing their conscience. Think about it. If she truly wanted your happiness, why not stay and create it? Why not grow instead of stepping away? Because "you deserve better" isn't about you. It's about her not wanting to face the mirror of accountability. It's easier to disguise her disconnection as sacrifice than to admit she's no longer willing to invest the effort love demands. And that's the cruel trick. The phrase makes her sound selfless while leaving you feeling confused. You begin to question yourself. Was I too demanding? Did I expect too much? You replay every argument, every silence, trying to find where it went wrong. But the truth is simpler and colder. Her words are not an apology. They're a way to exit without being the villain. This is the trap for men, believing that her compassion means there's still hope. You hold on because it feels like love. You think her softness is sincerity, that maybe she's torn between staying and leaving. But she's not. She's already decided. What you're clinging to is an illusion, a ghost of connection built from wishful thinking. The hardest part isn't losing her. It's realizing she let you believe it was for your own good. That's how self-deception begins, when you interpret her retreat as kindness instead of avoidance. She isn't sparing you pain. She's avoiding responsibility. And the more you accept that story, the deeper you fall into emotional debt, convincing yourself that waiting, understanding, and enduring will somehow bring her back. But here's the truth few men want to face. Staying after those words doesn't make you loyal. It makes you blind. Every day you stay, you trade a piece of self-respect for a handful of false comfort. You start confusing pity for affection and excuses for love. Love doesn't speak in riddles. It doesn't disguise distance with poetry. A person who values you won't tell you to find better. They'll look you in the eye and become better. Anything less is retreat wrapped in sentiment. So when she says, "You deserve better," believe her, but not the way she intends. Believe that she's telling you she's done giving her best. Believe that her words are not about your worth, but about her limits. And then walk away with quiet strength. Not out of anger, not to prove a point, but because you finally see the truth. A love that hides behind guilt has already ended. The only thing left to protect now is your peace. And once the words, "You deserve better," fade into silence, another line often follows, softer still, but just as final. She says, "I need to find myself." It sounds deep, almost poetic. You imagine a woman standing at the edge of the sea, looking for meaning, wanting to heal, to grow. But more often than not, those words are not about a journey of self-discovery. They're a curtain drawn over the quiet act of detachment. It's not about her soul awakening. It's about her heart drifting away. True growth doesn't require walking away from someone who cares. You can evolve without abandoning the hand that once steadied you. People change all the time, but when someone says they need to find themselves, what they're usually seeking is freedom without accountability. They want the benefits of your loyalty without the weight of commitment. And here's the quiet truth most men miss. She's not actually lost. She knows exactly where she's going, just not with you. Those words aren't confusion, they're preparation. She's creating emotional distance, building an exit wrapped in spirituality. She wants to keep you close enough to comfort her, but far enough so that she feels unbound. You become the safety net beneath her freedom. Men often hold on to these words like a promise. They tell themselves, she just needs time. She'll come back stronger. You replay her tenderness, her tears, the way she said it, gently, as if she still cared. But make no mistake, if she truly wanted you in her future, she wouldn't have to lose herself to find it. Waiting for her is like standing in an airport for a flight that's already departed. The destination she's chasing doesn't have a seat for you, and every day you wait, you shrink. Not because she took something from you, but because you keep giving energy to someone who already checked out. You can't guide someone lost in their own fog. You can reach your hand through it, call her name, remind her of the light you once shared, but if she's determined to wander, your warmth will only become another thing she takes for granted. That's the hardest part about loving someone who says they need to find themselves. They don't realize that in leaving, they're not finding, they're forgetting. And yet, this is where your awakening begins, because her search for herself doesn't have to become your sentence. Her confusion doesn't have to trap you. You can let her go, not out of bitterness, but out of respect for your own path. While she's out finding herself, you can be building yourself. You can rebuild your strength, reclaim your focus, and rediscover the man you were before you started living in someone else's uncertainty. You can take all the energy you once used to hold her together and pour it into building something that lasts: purpose, peace, and power. Because here's what life will eventually show you. The people who leave to find themselves often return to the same confusion they tried to escape. But the ones who stay, who choose growth within connection, they're the ones who truly evolve. So when she says she needs to find herself, don't beg her to stay. Don't promise to wait. Wish her well and step aside. Let her walk her path, and then turn back to your own. Not everyone who loses you deserves to find themselves in peace. And not everyone who says they're searching is brave enough to look within. Your task is simpler and far more powerful. Build a life so full, so centered, that no one else's absence feels like emptiness. Because the man who creates himself never has to wait for anyone to find him. And after she's gone to find herself, there's often one more chapter, one that sounds tender but cuts just as deep. She looks at you, maybe with tears in her eyes, and says softly, "You're too good for me." It sounds like admiration, almost a confession of love. But listen closely. That's not a compliment. It's a goodbye dressed in flattery. Those words are not meant to lift you up. They're meant to let her walk away without feeling guilty. When she says, "You're too good for me," she isn't honoring your character. She's excusing her own lack of effort. She's not praising your strength. She's declaring that she has no intention of matching it. What she's really saying is, "I can't meet you where you are, and I don't plan to try." It's a confession wrapped in sweetness, a retreat wrapped in grace. The truth is, people don't walk away from what they're willing to grow toward. When someone truly values you, they rise. They don't retreat behind compliments. They don't lower your light to make their comfort more bearable. But when a woman tells you you're too good for her, she's drawing a line. Not because she wants to protect you, but because she's unwilling to evolve beside you. This is the hidden danger behind her words. She places you on a pedestal, not to admire you, but to step away without shame. And if you accept that pedestal, you'll start shrinking to make her feel equal again. You'll downplay your achievements, hide your confidence, apologize for your clarity, all to make her feel safe in her own insecurity. But love cannot breathe in that imbalance. The moment you start lowering yourself to keep someone comfortable, the relationship begins to suffocate. She may stay for a while, but not because of connection. She'll stay out of guilt, out of fear of judgment, out of obligation. And every day, that false harmony will drain you more than loneliness ever could. Some women will say, "You're too good," as an exit. Others will stay, but slowly resent you for the reflection you cast. The reflection of what they could be, but aren't ready to become. Either way, it's emotional surrender. She's giving up on the possibility of meeting you halfway. And if you try to fix that, if you make it your mission to prove her wrong, you'll only dig yourself deeper into her insecurity. That's how many men lose themselves, not by being unworthy, but by trying to convince someone else that they're not too good. You start to see your best qualities, discipline, kindness, focus, ambition, as burdens instead of strengths. You start thinking, maybe I should tone it down. Maybe I am too much. No, you're not too much. You're just too clear for someone who prefers confusion. You're too stable for someone addicted to chaos. You're too calm for someone who thrives on emotional noise. The right woman won't tell you you're too good. She'll be inspired by you. She'll match your effort, not fear it. She'll look at your strength and see safety, not shame. She'll rise, not retreat. So when a woman tells you, "You're too good for me," believe her, not as an insult, but as information. She's telling you where her limits are. Don't argue. Don't try to prove her wrong. Just nod, smile, and walk away with the quiet strength of someone who knows his own value. Because a man who knows his worth doesn't chase someone who confuses. And after "you're too good for me" fades, there's one final line that quietly ends more relationships than shouting ever could. She says it softly, almost apologetically, "I'm not ready for commitment." It sounds gentle, honest even, but beneath the calmness lies a truth that burns. She's not unready for love, she's simply unready with you. Because when a woman meets a man she deeply respects, something inside her shifts. Her hesitation becomes certainty. Her fears don't vanish. She simply chooses to face them because losing him would cost more than her comfort. So when she says she's not ready, understand that it's not about timing, it's about priority. Readiness isn't measured by the calendar, it's measured by clarity. A woman who truly sees your value will rearrange her world to make space for you. She won't need months to figure things out. She'll know. Because deep connection doesn't require time to prepare, it requires truth to recognize. Not ready is often a softer way to say not willing. It's a shield, not from you, but from the guilt of admitting that she doesn't feel enough to stay. She'll talk about needing to focus on herself, her career, her healing. But if another man appeared tomorrow and she felt that rare spark of respect and admiration, readiness would happen overnight. That's not cruelty, that's human nature. People become ready when they meet someone who awakens something real in them. The pain begins when men refuse to accept this. You tell yourself she just needs time. You start negotiating with hope, convincing yourself that patience will earn her devotion. But every day you wait, you lose ground. You lose energy. You lose dignity. Because the more you accept her hesitation, the more she learns that you'll tolerate being an option. The truth is simple. You can't convince someone to be sure about you. You can't love them into readiness. You can't hold the door open forever for someone who's still deciding if they even want to walk through. Every moment you spend waiting is time borrowed from your own future. You start living in her maybe while your purpose and peace drift further away. And here's the quiet tragedy. By staying, you teach her that uncertainty is enough. You teach her that she can have you without choosing you, and that lesson will destroy the relationship long before she ever leaves. So what's the answer? You leave, not out of anger, but out of clarity. You walk away before her uncertainty becomes your regret. You don't slam the door. You simply close it and lock it behind you, not to shut her out, but to protect your own mind. Because there's nothing more painful than realizing you built a life around someone's hesitation. When a woman truly respects you, she doesn't hesitate. She doesn't need to think about it. She knows. And even if she's afraid, she chooses you anyway. That's the difference between readiness and avoidance. So if she says, "I'm not ready for commitment," don't argue, don't persuade, don't wait. Just smile with calm understanding and step back. Because love isn't proven by how long you wait for someone. It's proven by how clearly you walk away when waiting would cost you your worth. The right woman won't make you guess. She won't make you wait. She'll see who you are and know that losing a man like you isn't a risk she's willing to take. If this message spoke to something inside you, that quiet voice that knows you've given too much, waited too long, or lost yourself in trying to be enough, take it as your turning point. You don't need to fight for someone's clarity. You only need to reclaim your own. Remember this: love without respect is erosion, and a man who protects his peace will never beg for presents. If you found strength in these words, subscribe to Charismand, where we go deeper into the psychology of attraction, self-worth, and emotional mastery. Every video here is a mirror, showing you how to rebuild your power from silence, purpose, and calm confidence. Watch the next video to keep growing, keep awakening, and keep learning how to lead your life, not from fear, but from awareness. Your evolution starts here.